Good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So right now I'm going to be doing a ClairTarot reading for a general ClairTarot reading. This is going to be an energy update. I got some new cards. These cards are very interesting. Very, very interesting. If I do say so myself. They gave me some pretty accurate messages yesterday. Okay. Here goes. So I had asked the energies what this reading is going to be about. And I was told that it's about to go down. I don't know what's about to go down, but it's about to be big. Wow. Okay, this is way bigger than I was expecting. Okay, this is intense. All right, so based on the way the cards present, there is a reunification that's been taking place inside each of us as well as outside. This reunification, I think this has to do with the masculine and the feminine within us, as well as whatever your divine counterpart is. So one is needing additional charge to empower them, like personal empowerment, make them feel more heard, significant. They're having a lot of like insecurities rise up, and those insecurities that are rising up are beliefs, are structured beliefs that are no longer serving their growth. So their world is being challenged right now. The other one that's larger, the one that has done more work to date, that's the more, I guess, advanced one in that pairing. Although they're more advanced, they're still needing to work on verbalizing whatever they need to verbalize. This is feeling as though it's probably gonna going to require some communication. Like there's going to be a reaching out. For some of you, there's going to be a reaching out of some really important individual. This is going to be someone you have some sort of connection to. You might not already be aware who they are, or it might be someone from your past. Based on their faces, I think they already know who you are. I think you guys already know each other. There's a high probability that you guys already know each other. Now, these cards these ones kind of concern me. So I just want to put a little bit of a disclaimer out there first. I don't watch any current events. I don't watch the news. I don't read the newspaper. I kind of just live my life. And so I don't quite know what's going on. Every year we're talking about there's going to be a war, there's going to be a war, world war. So at this point, I mean, if people are talking about world war, I'm kind of like, you're full of shit. We've been in a world war, a low-key world war for so many generations. It's like the World War II never really ended. They just kind of went about their fighting in a more sneaky way. And these set of cards are concerning to me because there actually might be some global conflict rising up. So I don't like to really talk about political things, but I mean, what does that look like? That kind of looks like Captain America, this facade, this like illusion of democracy, we're the good guys because of and again, I really don't want to get all political, but Hegelian dialectic, look that up. If you want to control a people and you want to do it in such a way where they beg you to control them, you use Hegelian dialectic. You create a circumstance, offer a solution that was your end game anyways, and wait for the people to beg you to put that into action. So there we are. Yes, the FFs, false flags. Dun, dun, dun. So I will share a little thought that I had for this thought was the very reason I stopped with the whole truther thing, because I was really deep into truthers years ago, early 2000s. I was into truthing early 2000s, like really deep into it. Deep, like I would stay up for days at a time just scouring the web, information hoarding. And I came to the conclusion every single time there really is no separation between the different governments. I believe they're just one. They're regional directors, but they all answer to one. If you want to look into that, just look up Black Pope, Black Mass, Vatican, all of that. I'm not going to go into that here, but that's kind of, so they need the older brother because, this is basically like the older brother to convince the other, the other brothers to, well, no, they've already all agreed. That's my personal belief, that all the world wars are agreed upon in advance. But this is kind of, I guess, where we're at. The title of this was it's about to go down. When I started pulling cards, I was like, oh, some twin shit again. It's just, God, man, I'm so over that. And then this card comes out and I'm like, oh, okay. And then after that card, this card comes out and it's like, all right, so this is the contractions that's going to go ahead and rebirth the world. They need us to participate in this in order for it to come to fruition. Now, if you're constantly watching the news, constantly allowing yourself to be kept in a dialogue, it's actually a monologue, to be honest. The official scripted story of how you're supposed to feel that, this, and this is happening, you are feeding into that being brought to fruition. You are feeding into it being manifested. So it's good to be aware of global events, of political agendas, but understand much of the political agendas are actually slid through into law while we're preoccupied with some sort of current event, okay? If there's a big event that everyone is talking about, like a huge event, everyone's talking about a shooting somewhere, someone wore the wrong dress, there's celebrities that are fighting, a celebrity passed away. I mean, those are all bad things. But what's being slid into law? Well, what's being buttered up and slid through legislation? There's a lot of things. Yes, it's a sleight of hand that's always occurring. I remember a few years back, the Pacific Trade something or other was wanting to be passed. The Filipino president at that time basically was like, nope, we're not doing it. You're not installing a base in our country, because the Philippines is a very key component. If the United States is going to attack the other side of the world, that's a key component that will allow them to launch strikes with minimal advance notice for whoever they're targeting. So what ended up happening, agreements were stalled. The Filipino president was like, no, fuck that. We're not doing that. Oh, we had a fucking typhoon come and smash into the islands. Just so happened it's where they wanted the military installation. And so because there was so much devastation, and you could see this, you know how they track the weather, you could see burst, 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 burst. They were using HARP to keep driving that storm to that specific area of the Philippine Islands. And then here comes the US. We're here to save the day. We're here to save the day. And they're humanitarian aid is the guys they use. So they went and built the installation anyways. So all of these distractions that we experience, you just have to be aware they're distractions. Now, when we talk about false flags, let's not disrespect the people who actually lose their lives in the false flags. When they first began with the whole false flag programming, there were a lot of actors that were being used, okay? They've stepped up their game. Now they're actually truly killing people. All right. That's called collateral damage. When you're in a theater of war, that is collateral damage. That is an acceptable loss in that theater. Not my personal belief. This is military tactic. So it might be a false flag, but there are very real victims. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind before you start like, oh no, nobody died. No, people do die. People do die. Okay. It's a very real thing that they're doing. So it's a rebirthing process. Now, Gaia is receiving quite a bit of that very high frequency, very, very high frequency. There is a thing called law of reciprocal reflection. Whatever happens to Gaia, we will reflect that within our morphogenetic template, within our field. So when Gaia is diseased, when she has seals placed upon key locations to tamper with her ability to rise in frequency, we then will have that as well. This is the Jehovian seals, the Zeta seals, the Solomon seals, all of those seals were done to Gaia, and then it's reflected in our field. She's undoing those with the presence of the blue rays, the presence of the crystal children, rainbow children, diamond ray children, and now diamond sun souls. She's reflecting those higher levels of frequency. And so that's what's going on. It's amplify, receive, amplify, receive, amplify, receive, amplify. And so it's really just amplifying a bunch of energy. We need to learn to walk away from conversations that don't add to our growth, okay? We're in the process of metamorphosis. We're going from caterpillars who simply consume, to butterflies who can fly. We have to learn to walk away from this type of, there is a false matrix that we exist within. A lot of Keylontic science and Cathara followers know about this. What's a Drac? The false Archangel Michael. There is a false one. It's the one that people channel. That one is not Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, he doesn't channel shit. He doesn't tell you what to do. But this false one does. Absolutely. I'm not sure if the person who channeled all this information understood the gravity of what they were channeling. They were bamboozled as well. Okay. That's my personal stance. They were bamboozled as well. If you want to really know who's behind all of this, is not Michael. It goes by the name of Michael. It comes to me sometimes and I'm like, you're a demon. No, I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you. It tells me like, oh, you know what? You need to flex on that person. You need to show me you're more powerful. No, I don't. No, I don't. It tells people to do all kind of things to try and degrade me. And, it is absolutely an imposter. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you'll learn to tell the difference if you listen to yourself. Okay. Listen to the energy of it. So here it is. We're going to go from a darker frame of mind to something that's lighter, a lighter way of being. There's going to be a lot of changes, physiological changes for many of us who are ready to take that quantum leap forward into another way of being. Now, for many of you, you're probably already experiencing changes in your body, changes in your voice, even changes in your hair, just some really odd changes that to me, I'm still trying to make full sense of it, but my growing suspicion is that we're dropping some of that density. Okay, so the things that tie you to the density is probably going to change. With my hair, there is a thing that people believe that hair is the antenna to the spiritual realm. It's the way the ancestors and the spirits give us our power. A lot of my hair is falling out, and I don't have a physiological reason for that. Okay, the reason that my hair would fall out, that's already being addressed. It shouldn't continue. Well, it's not really falling out; it's just shedding. Even the texture of my hair has become very, very fine. It is usually like somewhat curly, wavy, crazy, and now, I mean, it's like straight. What the hell is this? It's okay though. We're pulling in. We're pulling in this really, really intense energy that is our own. Oh my God, my cat. We're pulling in this energy. It's coming from our sacral as well as from our, what do you call it? Solar plexus. Let me see. Ooh, the what have the who channeled Michael? Sorry. That really yeah, well, we do go through cycles where the hair sheds a little bit more, especially after you've given birth. There was a lot of hormonal changes that occurred while you were pregnant that it kept your hair follicles in a growing cycle, because your hair follicles tend to take turns. Not all of them are in a continuous growth cycle. But when you're pregnant, I mean, unless I'm remembering this wrong, when you're pregnant, it's basically all your hair is in a perpetual growth cycle. So after you give birth, the hormones that make that possible, they drop back to more normal levels. And so all the hair that you basically grew because of the abnormally high hormonal levels, those are shed naturally. So you do shed more after you give birth. But lots of changes occurring. Let me pull a couple more cards. Is that the book? That is the book. What the heck? That's the book. Let's see. I cannot shuffle for nothing. Let's see. I want to know about this card. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I wanted to know more about this card where we're losing density. We're experiencing physiological symptoms that are tied to an increase in etheric ratio versus density. And then I got these two cards. So we went from our child form because of the energies that are coming from Gaia, the mother. See that? We're reaching up higher. We're allowing ourselves to receive these energies and therefore raise ourselves back to a more angelic state. Because, that's the birthing process. Oh God, we're being reborn. See, if you look at it from this way, look at this, okay? It's a fucking trip. She's birthing and we're coming out. Ooh, those are her legs. So we're coming out and being reborn back into a more organic template, a return of our template back to its more organic state. This is probably because the energies that are coming in are most likely 12th dimensional or higher. With 12th dimensional energies, and you can look up some information on this if you want. It's Maharic energy, according to Cathara. It's 12th dimensional hydroplasma, liquid light energy that contains, and this is based off of my knowing at this point, it's hydroplasma, liquid light energy that contains the original template of health. It's devoid of the distortions and template damage that occurred when we began to experience molecular compaction by dropping down in density. So this is a rebirthing process. As you guys know, birth can be very messy. It's oftentimes very messy. It's often very painful. There's going to be a lot of shifts in every aspect of our lives. Let's get a couple more cards, and then we're going to call it a day. And what I'm noticing with these shifts that are occurring, the primary wounds that we had been working on have healed enough that they're no longer primary wounds. It seems as though the secondary injuries are rising up and taking the place of the primary. The secondary are needing more attention, the secondary wounds. You guys saw me processing some of my secondary wounds yesterday, where it's basically my struggle with enforcing healthy boundaries. Although healthy boundaries are something I try and very actively participate in on a daily basis, there's still a lot of refinement needing to occur. A lot of the things that I actually process off of live stream. I don't do it on a live stream. But yesterday, I was encouraged to go live by my higher self because this type of processing needed to be witnessed. Not witnessed to heal me, but witnessed because others are going through the same process, especially those who are empathic, those who are going through, because not everyone's doing this at the same time. Those who are going through the rebirthing process, this is a very, very major and very common wound that's now being processed by this subset. So it was very important to share that processing. It's not about complaining, because I did get several people who, they lack the understanding. They do. People, and this is another important thing. People can only understand you at the level that they've reached, the level that they've grown to. And when you are discussing things that are at a much higher level of dimensional frequency than what they can comprehend, they're going to filter your words and what you're sharing through the filters they have activated. So if they're a kind of person that complains, exists in a negative state, simply expressing yourself, processing out loud will be received as, oh, she's complaining. No, I'm not complaining. I'm processing. I'm taking accountability for how I allowed that to be co-created with my participation, my active part. That's not complaining. Complaining is like, oh, everyone's just so mean to me. Everybody takes advantage of me. At no point was that said. What was said, and this is why it was important to be said publicly, I allowed these things to happen because I had gotten too comfortable with this belief that I had grown to a level where I no longer had to worry about those things like boundaries. And it was basically my soul checking me like, hey, girl, you got to revisit that lesson. We need to make a little bit of adjustments. You're doing a little bit of backsliding. You're participating in this. It's not to blame anyone else. You're here to take accountability for the ways in which you haven't continued growth in that area. You've gotten a little too complacent, believing that you've already successfully addressed that. Whatever you think you've already successfully addressed, I promise you, once you reach an even higher level of growth, you're going to have to revisit that and make modifications that will realign that area that you thought you had mastered. It will realign it with a higher level of being, a higher way of functioning. Sorry, my cat. Well, See, and yes, I did cry a little bit in yesterday's live, not because of anything that was going on, but I just miss my mom so much. I miss her so much. Mm, okay. So these are important cards. Here we go, balance. This is about seeing the duality that exists within you and reunifying them back at center. This is about existing in a totality, no more of that duality. It's okay to recognize you are a totality made of a reunified duality. Okay. You have to go back to center. You can tap into the yin and the yang, lunar and solar, positive and negative. See, positive and negative. Dragonflies are a sign of transformation. Okay. So many of us, those of us who are ready, will begin this transformation. For some, not all, for some, this means the reunifying with another individual to carry on, to continue with the lessons we had already started. Okay. Yes, I'm referencing twin stuff. I'm so sick of this topic. Yes, I'm referencing twin stuff for some people. So this transformation, and I am not saying that you need to be ready for some boom chicka wow wow. It's about to get romantic and go down. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's probably going to be, oh, shit. Okay. No, I'm not mad or frustrated. See, why are you showing me things in that way? So here it is. Okay. Apparently it's a lizard. But what I was shown is your paths lead back to the same place. The two of you have unfinished business, unfinished conversations, unfinished interactions, 88% at 8:15. That simply means there is unfinished lessons that are needing to be finished. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean everyone is going to be romantic. All right. You can still walk the journey alone by choice. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's this common misconception that you have to have a partner in life. You don't. You don't. It ties into that programming that tells you you're not enough by yourself. You absolutely are enough by yourself. I haven't had a single piece of contact or anything with my counterpart, my energetic counterpart. I've been doing this mission on my own because I have a knowing, energetically speaking, on the etheric level. There was never a separation. You know, when I need assistance, their higher self is obligated to help me. I don't even have to ask. When they need assistance, my higher self is obligated to help. So you absolutely can live this life without anyone else. I mean, for many of us, because we are social well, y'all are social creatures. I would be happy in a cave alone. Like, well, I would want my children and my husband there just because I really enjoy them. But if I had no children or husband, I would still be happy all by myself. Like, and yeah, it can be non-physical, um, as well as this could even mean just the reunification of the masculine and the feminine energies within you, within yourself. It doesn't even necessarily mean someone outside of you. So that's definitely something we have to keep in mind. Like, we have to de-emphasize the whole twin thing. You really have to de-emphasize that. The focus should be you and your growth, not someone else. Not when is this person going to come back, when is this person going to make me happy. If you can't make yourself happy, that is unfair for you to put that on someone else's shoulders. A healthy pair can make themselves happy on their own, and they come together and share their happiness together. Okay, so no one else is going to complete you. No one else is going to make you happy. This is something you're going to have to decide to do on your own. And when you do that, you can then open yourself to receive from other people and share of your completion and happiness with them. And that makes for such a beautiful, beautiful pairing. So potential. What this card is really helping us to understand is the balance does nothing more than increase potential. And really, the potential is about the inner child, okay? Your child within you. It's about rebirthing yourself. Now, creation is a stair-step creation. It means a design was set in place, and that design was broken down into subunits, which are mimics or copies of the first design. And that secondary level is then broken down even further. And it's just really the same thing repeated over and over and over and over as it steps down in density. Now, the thing is that as you step down in density, there's a lot of compression that begins to occur, just like when you take an HD video and you try and upload it onto social media. There's a lot of compression. You lose the clarity. There's distortions. That's the same thing. As we step down, we then began to experience distortions. We began to experience missing segments of our coding. We experienced molecular compaction, which definitely adds to the aging process. Our mortality was kind of cut off because we were designed to be self-sustaining immortals. And then we went a little too far down in density. This body can't self-sustain perpetually, indefinitely. But so, wow, you reach balance to become aware of your potential. And in order to begin harnessing it, you have to be centered. Centered in your truth, allowing your crown space and your high heart to fully blossom. I mean, how deep is that? How deep is that? Wow. Oh, look at that. She has the sun and the moon. She has the lotus. Ooh, wee boo-boo. Wow. That's gorgeous. First time pulling this card. First time. Quite a few people lived long lives. Methuselah? I forget, man, my memory sucks so bad. I believe it was, oh no, it was Noah's grandfather, not Moses. Noah's grandfather lived a very, very, very long time. Like a very, very, very long time. Some people say that the ages that were, was it Enoch? Enoch lived a very long time. I'm going to have to look this back up. I had to memorize this like in 7th or 8th grade. And I was like, why do I have to know these people? What if they weren't even real? But the ages that were documented in the scriptures, some authorities in this subject matter say that it's they gauge their age by seasons or moon cycles or something like that, that it wasn't years. But I do know, regardless of however you want to calculate their age, they lived an unnaturally long life. No, it wasn't unnatural. They live long lives. You know, I had been being told for a while I'm supposed allegedly I'm supposed to live well in excess of 300 years. I'm like, well, we'll believe that shit when we see it. That's so full of shit. You're not keeping me here for 300 fucking years. I don't think so. I do not consent. I'm just saying, but that's what my soul had been telling me. Methuselah. Well, is it? I don't freaking know his name. We just call him May May, okay? But yeah, but and here's the thing, and I'm full aware of this. In order for that to actually happen, where my higher self is like, be prepared, be prepared. You live in excess of 300 years. Fuck you, bitch. Get out of here. I don't want to be here for over 300 years. This place sucks. But in order for that to happen, I would have to no longer eat the foods that trigger an amplification of molecular compaction. So for those who are experiencing higher levels of frequency, y'all are not going to like this, okay? Y'all are not going to like this. Veganism, this is based off of my 20 years of over 20 years of body of work. Veganism, for those who are extremely high frequency, is not going to get you there. It's not. Crazy white hair. I don't dye my hair at all. I have only a couple strands of white. My mom, when she passed, was 70, and she barely had any white hair. Barely any. I think maybe like 3 or 4. Oh, I don't know. She had just a couple. And she looked like, she didn't look 70. She looked like maybe 50 if she moisturized. I'm like, Mom, why are you not moisturizing? You need more Shiseido. So yeah, the foods that help to accelerate and amplify the molecular compaction, those who are a certain strain of starseed, indigo 1, there's different tiers of indigos. It's a different ratio. So those who have indigo coding similar to mine, you are not compatible with all grains, rice and corn included. Fucking corn. Fucking corn. Rice and corn included. So all grains, dairy, and nightshades, meaning potatoes. I can't eat none of that good stuff you guys eat. But yeah, those are foods that were genetically modified. They're the most highly modified foods, that and soy. And yeah, veganism, and I caught a lot of flack for this like a year or 2 ago. Like, I was heavily attacked for this. I was vegan for 6.5 years, strictly vegan. I forced myself to be vegan. I had to go through an ascension process that was extremely difficult, and I needed my frequency to skyrocket very quickly. So I was vegan for 6.5 years, and I have never been more unhealthy in my life. I was at risk of experiencing organ damage. This was the time when my body stopped synthesizing vitamin D. Okay. I don't remember what the proper healthy levels of vitamin D are supposed to be, but mine was, I think, like at 4 or something like that. I think it's supposed to be like closer to 100, or I don't remember. But my doctor, when she saw the blood test, she turned and looked at me like, how are you still walking? I don't know. So with veganism, those who are lower frequency, and I say lower frequency not as a derogatory label, but as a way to let you know what group I'm talking about. Those who have a lower frequency will absolutely benefit from veganism. It will help you to raise your frequency, okay? Those who are already naturally high frequency, those who are star seeds, blue rays, indigos of a certain kind, you're already naturally high frequency. You do veganism, your frequency is going to go higher. You're going to be ungrounded. And then that's when you get into this whole like, oh, fucking humans. I can't stand humans. This earth is blah, blah, blah. Humans are like a cancer. You eat some fucking meat, bro. You need to ground yourself, anchor yourself back in this experience. Because that's what happened when I went vegan. I can't fucking stand these people. I'm only going to go shopping in Berkeley where my people are. Like, girl, get over yourself. Get over yourself. Everybody's your people. You're fucking part of Earth. You're a human being. So that's kind of what goes on. That's kind of what goes on. The people who are very staunch vegan, and see that's the thing. It's become such a stigma. The term vegan explains. Oh, it's not explained. The term vegan has become such a stigmatized label. It's actually very sad. I 100% agree with the moral standing of veganism. I completely am disgusted by factory farming of animals. But understand, abusing your body, if your body is not compatible with veganism, and please don't start that bullshit of like humans are no, we also have, these teeth right here, they're sharp. If I show you my husband's teeth, his fucking sharp, they look like daggers. I'm saying some of us need to have animal products. You cannot tell me, there's nothing you can tell me. I don't give a shit how scientific you get. You will never convince me that the First Nations peoples who hunt in a way that is very sustainable, that is in respect to life, to Gaia, the guardians and stewards of this planet, are not as spiritual as your fucking vegan ass. Get the fuck out of here. You're not going to convince me of that. Now, the way they source their foods once upon a time, I don't know how they do it now. It was in alignment. There was balance. There was never a taking more than what was necessary for the people. Okay, you can find, and here's the thing. That's why they keep you so squashed down with, financial debt and all of this. So you can't afford food that's ethically raised. And people are, oh, well, that's not ethical because you're killing, and everyone fucking dies on this planet. At some point, every living thing, in order to leave this planet, dies. Okay? Stop being so afraid of death. Now, the way the food is raised, factory farming is not okay. It's not okay. These animals are abused, treated poorly. I remember one of my lives. This was a life that this was a life that I lived in Missoula, Montana. I was their shaman. I don't even want to say what tribe, but it was in Missoula. I was their shaman, and I had the ability to call wild animals to us. And these animals knew we were hunting them, and they would allow it. They knew. These animals are not stupid. They knew. And we wouldn't take the entire herd. We would only take what we need and let the rest go. So these animals knew if we allow ourselves to release that fear of we're not spiritual, how are we going to be seen? A lot of the most spiritual people that I know personally, my friends who are vegan, are no longer vegan. You know why? Because they listen to their bodies and their doctors and realize they can't sustain veganism. Does that mean they eat meat? Most of them don't eat meat, but they do have, they eat meat once in a while. But they do have cheeses and eggs and stuff. So this whole concept, yes, Jay Davila 222, plants are alive too. And that's what trips me out. While I was vegan, my ability to speak to plants fucking turned on. They have a consciousness. They're able to communicate. They're able to build bonds, form bonds with other living things. Ain't that some shit? You're eating them alive. You're cutting off their parts and eating them alive. How dare you? I mean, the only other option is fruitarian, airtarian. I don't know. Shit. But Yes, moderation is definitely key. Also, sourcing your food is key. But hey, you know what? Let's be really, really real here. 44 minutes and 44 seconds. Fuck yes. Let's be really real here. Not all of us can afford that. Not all of us can afford organic. Not all of us can afford to buy buffalo that was allowed to roam the plains and harvested in alignment with how the native people of the plains harvested the buffalo. Not all of us can afford that. Some of us can only afford canned meats, factory raised animals. You do what you can. This is not about shaming you or trying to force you to live a lifestyle that you cannot sustain financially. Okay. Those people that are shaming you about, oh, you eat that? Oh, no, you have to eat this. Oh, no, well, you have to rebudget. Shut the fuck up, for real. You don't know what they're struggling through. You don't know what their financial burden is. You have no idea if they're splitting their paycheck over a family that is like 15 times bigger than yours. Yeah, okay. Well, I make the same amount as them. Okay, but you're just taking care of yourself. They're taking care of an entire family unit. So get out of here with your beliefs that they need to. No, no. You do what you can. When you have the money to make small changes to your diet, to what you can source for yourself, then you make those changes. This is not about shaming anyone. Most people are on a very fixed income, very, very fixed income. Okay. And people who are on food stamps, no shame to any of you either. If you're on food stamps, they only allow you to purchase certain types of food for like WIC. If you're a mother with children and people are like, oh, you're feeding the babies wrong. Well, shit. Why don't you walk your ass to Washington and change legislation so that WIC can cover the foods that these new children can have? WIC gives you cow's milk, which causes inflammation. Okay. We're not baby cows. First off, we're not baby cows. Secondly, they give you what? Bread, rice, beans, all again causing inflammation. These are foods that are not compatible with new children frequency. Oh, he feels me. He's like, Mama, whose ass do I have to kick? Come on, baby. Oh, take a look. Whose ass are you going to kick? No, don't leave my coffee alone. See what I'm saying? He's like, I know you're not here to love me, dude. You're here to steal my coffee. I know you. But yeah, if things are going to go down, they're going to go down. All right. If enough people buy into it, if enough people participate in the programming to bring to fruition the things that these cards are talking about, then it will happen. And that's just that. That's just that. I'm not going to live in fear. Remember, guys, all of us, at some point, the body will perish and you'll get out of the body and go on to the next life. There is nothing to be scared of at all. At all. You fed your kids donuts for breakfast. Lucky kids. My kids don't get donuts. They don't get donuts. Oh. Thank you, Universal Faith. Thank you. Yes, fear is a disease. Well, no. Unbalanced fear is a disease. I'm sorry. I don't mean to correct you, Javanka. This is my own personal thoughts. Unbalanced fear is a disease. Fear exists. Do you want to be in here? Do you want to be seen?
No.
He wants you guys to see his elbow. Can you pull that down like halfway? Because it's too bright. Unbalanced fear, it doesn't serve a purpose. Fear is supposed to help you see the things that you need to pay attention to. But when you allow fear to take over, that's no longer balanced. 73% at 837 with 37 thumbs. But yeah, the unhealthy eating, that's definitely diseased fear. A lot of the foods that A lot of the foods that, especially people on food stamps, a lot of the foods that they get are not food. They are food like products. These foods are so over processed, they're no longer considered food. And so they have to enrich them. When you see on the label, if you look at the label and you see enriched, that means it was so processed that all of the nutrition was destroyed. So it's categorically no longer considered food. And because they added in these synthetic vitamins, it's once again considered a food like product. Okay. So just kind of think on that. But in no way, shape, or form should you feel ashamed. If you're eating processed foods, feeling ashamed about not being able to afford anything outside of processed foods is not going to help you. Instead of feeling shame, recognize your situation for what it is, a call from your higher self to realign so that you can bring in your abundance, so you can afford more, okay? So that you can get the support that you need. This is not about shaming anyone. This is not about shaming anyone. Everyone has budgets they have to work within, okay? So what I've noticed people, and I say this because at one point I was on food stamps as well. I have no shame about it. I was on food stamps as well. And that's why I know this. You get a certain amount. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. You get a certain budget for each family member that qualifies. And then what happens? You have to maximize that because that's all you get for the whole month. The whole month. So you have to maximize that. So how do you maximize that? By getting the cheapest food possible in the largest quantity possible. Exactly. Serenity vocalized. Can't make 25 cents more or they'll take all the stamps. Absolutely. You get punished for that. You get punished for that shit. 5 cents. I'm sorry, you don't qualify. Over 5 cents? Okay. Okay, shit. Yeah. So when people start talking about, oh, you're just getting free money. Oh, you're lazy. You know what? Shut the fuck up. If you want to complain about free money, how much money are we giving Israel every month? How much money is allotted towards military campaigns that don't need to exist? How much of your tax money is being used by black ops to destabilize foreign governments by funding insurgents, training insurgents, providing the very weaponry that insurgents will use to destabilize those governments so we can come in under the guise of, let me just stop. Let me just, my husband turned around. Yes. Just stopped. Okay. So the energy update is done. Energy update is done. I'm telling you, this is why I'm just like, this place sucks. Earth sucks. But it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's going to get better because what's going to happen is we're going to go through a birthing process very soon. This process is going to wake even more people up. And it's going to allow for pathways to reopen that had been dilated, constricted, that had been constricted to really stifle our growth. Definitely, it's something that has to happen at this point, you know? So instead of being afraid about how this happens, begin preparing. I don't know where the market's at, but if you have stashed away US dollars, any kind of dollars, I would highly recommend investing in tangible things that can be used. If this is really going to happen the way people are trying to make it happen, your dollars will make very good fuel for fires. Silver, gold, I'm talking about bullions. I'm talking about actual. I'm not talking about purchasing stock. I'm talking about purchasing actual. You can also purchase number 10 cans of food, long shelf life, freeze dried. I'm telling you, I'm going to find Mormons and I'm going to make them my family. They're ready for this shit. I'm just saying, they're ready. Now, and be careful what you post because things do get tracked. Social, you guys already know this. You know, Facebook is not Mark Zuckerberg. Get out of here. It's CIA. It's CIA. That's why most people. I don't think I've ever heard of a case, a legal case, like a lawsuit against Facebook where they won. You know. And if you post like truther stuff, if you post conspiracy stuff, all of that, you're on a list. All of us are on the list. Just whatever. Let's see. Katrina, this labor sucks. Oh wow, you have a house in the mountains. I don't have any plans. I'm kind of in that mindset that I'm not in agreement with any of this shit happening. I'm not in agreement with it and I'm not going to participate in it. I'm just not. So, and I used to be of the mindset where like I need to be ready, I need to prepare, and you know, no, I'm not participating in that. Let's see. No, I haven't heard of any social credit score. I try my best to no longer, because it really just made me a much more negative person looking into all of that. I realize I know enough at this point to understand what's going on. I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but I know enough for my own personal understanding. And I do know that my soul is heavily protected and heavily provided for. So in the event that something needed to be prepared for, I would know before it happens. I would know before it happens, and I would quietly prepare and quietly leave. For so many years, I basically have been tested over and over by my higher self to make sure that line of communication is fully functional. There's been times where, and I don't know if I'm the only one, my life is weird. One time we arrived somewhere in Texas. We had been traveling for a long time already. We were just exhausted. And we unloaded all our things into the hotel room. And maybe 30 minutes after we unloaded everything, after being on the road for 24 hours, I get confirmation from Soul. I get these hits from Soul, like we have to evac. And I'm like, I'm fucking tired. I'm sick of your games. And then I get a notification on my phone. I look at the notification and it's telling me the time is now. It was an ad emailed to me and it said the time is now, and it's truncated. So that's all that showed up on my phone. And I told my husband and he's like, no, we're not leaving today. I'm tired. And then as soon as he said that, I get another notification and it said last chance for Frey. I was like, Jesus about to fuck your ass up, bro. Me and the kids are leaving without you. But it literally, and if you open the message, it's an email from a natural candy supplier because I was making truffles at the time. And the what was cut off was last chance for free shipping. But on my phone, it said last chance for Frey. And I showed him. He's like, okay, let's go. So we packed all our things, we cooked so that we wouldn't have to stop, and we took off. We left Texas. And because we were on the road so much, I had a weather tracker app on my phone. And I swear to God, like 5-10 minutes after each county that we drove through, because we didn't stop, flash flood warning, highways are closed. Like 5-10 minutes, my phone kept dinging. I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. And yeah, everything was flooded. And as a matter of fact, I believe it was the next day when we finally reached our destination, which was like hella states away. I happened to check on the news. The city we were in fucking leveled with a tornado. I was like, see what I'm saying? You almost got your ass fucked up. And it was like, okay, I'm not gonna question you no more. So yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. And that's not the only tornado that has leveled the city that we've been at and left. Yeah, so I'm not scared at all. And it's not about being cocky. It's about existing in a state that's in full trust of my soul. My soul will make me so uncomfortable that I'll have no choice but to leave the area. I will be so uncomfortable. Even if I don't want to listen, I'll be forced to listen, and we will leave, and then we won't experience that. So definitely very interesting. We have a lot of things shifting, a lot of things occurring. You guys have to begin listening to your higher selves, not to me. Don't be afraid. Your higher self wants to provide for you. Your higher self wants to guide you out of situations that are unnecessary, but it can't do that if you're not listening. Okay? That's the whole point of this. It can't do anything to help you if you're not listening. If you're going to exist in such an unbalanced state of fear, ego, and all of these other things, it won't be able to do what it needs to do to get you where you need to be, to provide for you the very things that you need. So just flow. Just flow. This is the very reason why I just know we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. It's not a fuck it all type of attitude. It's a knowing. It's gnosis. I've entered a state of gnosis. And I'm done. I have a full day of sessions that's about to start. Thank you guys so much for for sharing this space with me. If you haven't already given this video a thumbs up, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me every single time I'm live. Y'all know the fucking frequency. Bye, guys.